Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of New Jersey westerns, uh, Elise Guy has started Solax,
Yeah,
her film company.
her
Uh,
American film company.
yep, and she's got it outfitted in New Jersey. And one of the earlier movies that she made for that film company is Parson Sue, which was a western.
Yeah. Uh, I really enjoyed this one. I mean, it is unfortunately the entire like climax, like third act of the movie is lost,
Yeah,
and so it kind of just there's just a title card that explains like how everything is wrapped up, and you're like, oh, we don't
yeah,
actually get to see any of this. We don't get to see the big fight
yeah.
at the end.
Poochie went to the moon and lived there forever with
Yeah.
his friends and went
Um,
went away.
it's also so silly. This is like even for an Elise Ski movie, like she makes a lot of very silly movies. I feel like this one is there's just a gleeful silliness to the whole thing that I
Yeah,
really responded
she
well
has
to.
she has a lot of fun with her movies.
Yeah. Um this movie has a lot of like crowd scenes.
Hmm.
Um and it reminded me of a thing that the video essay Eddie Freeman painting pointed out. Which is when you put a bunch of people in a shot, any emotion feels really big. And I think that I thought about that a lot watching this movie of how like I think of a specific example now. Um but there's a lot of scenes in like a saloon or a shop where someone will react to something. And rather than just having one person react to it, we get to see a whole crowd kind of react to it. Um and it makes everything feel very like impactful.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but often in a goofy way. I mean, this is like a hammy
It's
movie
so
about
hammy and goofy.
uh, yeah, about a I didn't know what the word the term parson before, but it's like like a somebody affiliated with
Hmm.
religion, basically. So she comes to like an out not an outlaw town. What would you call it? Like a sort of
A frontier town.
lawless, a frontier town.
Yeah.
Yeah, she comes to a frontier town uh, full of gruff men as a clergy member, and she tries to convert all of them. And she puts up a sign next to the uh, the water trough that says "Cleanliness is next to godliness," and all of these dirty Western men are like, "Oh man, we gotta impress this lady," So they're all like getting nice, and so there's just like a gaggle of dudes like trying to out Jesus each other to impress
Yeah.
Parson Sue.
And it kind of it does the thing that Elise Key loves to do, which is kind of to play with like uh gender roles a little bit and kind of like traditional uh ideas of like masculinity and femininity. And so yeah, there's like a whole scene of all of the very macho cowboys who are all just like bathing themselves with soap and water out in the middle of town. It just in a very a very goofy way that you would not immediately think of when you're like, oh yeah, a bunch of rootin' tootin' cow. We're saying rootin' tootin' in this episode a lot. Um,
It's a good adjective.
it really is. We got to bring it back. Um, there is a specific character in this movie that um I wonder if is intended to be like the gay cowboy or if it's just because Elise Guy is French and I feel like that has come out a lot in her movies where I can't tell if it's intentional or not or
Is
if
it
it's
gay or
just
just European?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um if so that feels significant though.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice a gay
There's
cowboy.
there's one cowboy specifically that is like very clearly wearing makeup, which in 1900s and 1910s movies is not unusual.
Right.
Um, but just one character really sticks out as having like very uh distinctive makeup, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a scene in the beginning where I think he might supposed to be. It might be like he's flirting with another man, but I'm not entirely sure. That was
I
how
wonder
I
if,
read it anyway.
yeah, I wonder if homosexuality was if the hate against it was as established back then. I feel like there was
I think in the U.S. it was for
right.
sure.
Mhm.
I don't know about Europe or France specifically.
And this is another love triangle here because
This is true. Yeah.
there are two kind of primary suitors, and the one who loses is named Sleeky Sam, which I love. And when Sleeky Sam is rejected, he swears revenge and kidnappings and hijinks
Yeah, well,
ensue.
he swears revenge by trying to kidnap Parson Sue, and then the other suitor, I think I'm pretty sure most of this happens off screen, so I might be misremembering the details somewhat because it's just a single title card that explains most of this. But the sort of the other suitor who's sort of this like main cowboy guy, is sort of set up as he's going to go rescue her, and then just immediately is shot and taken out of the picture. And so then like the rest of the town has to kind of band together to rescue Parson Sue. And that too is like a cool reversal of like I feel like Western story tropes haven't really been as established as I would think they would be later. Like this is early enough in film history that it's like Westerns can be whatever.
Yeah, I suppose so. I
And
know Westerns are really popular at this point, but I guess everybody's
Yeah.
playing by their own book.
But Alicia is already just being like, nah, I'm doing it my own way.
Yeah. That's something great about her. She really bucks a lot of trends in ways
Yeah.
that are interesting.
And it makes her movies really, I think, really interesting and refreshing to watch because so many other movies from this time period are very samey and very kind of stick to certain traditions where she's just like, I don't give a shit, I'm doing whatever.